I'm going to square these guys off, and thanks for coming, you guys. We'll see you Friday.
What can you tell us about Max Holloway at this point? An update on his health and just kind of what's going on with him.
Yeah, it's a weird situation. I was just talking to Jeff Nowitzki in the back, and there's a couple of different, people. Some people think it's concussion related, and some people think it's weight cutting related. So they haven't really got down to the bottom of what it is. But according to him, he feels fine, but obviously he's not fine. So we're going to continue to try to figure out what's wrong with Max Holloway.
So I guess
in the meantime, there's no way that this guy's going to fight anytime soon.
Okay, I was going to ask him. You said anytime soon. So with that in mind, they're still figuring it out. I mean, is there even a ballpark, a time frame, an idea when he could fight again?
I can't remember exactly what the time frame is, but when you look at he was getting ready for a fight, that fight fell out. Then he was getting ready for another fight, and he didn't make weight and couldn't make the weight, and the list goes on and on. 3 or 4 fights. I can't remember exactly what it was, but the guy's been training and cutting weight for 3-4 fights in a row. Yeah, it's very weird. We'll figure it out, and that's that.
Can you assure us that he is going through all these testings?
No, he's done no testing. Of course he's done testing. Of course he's done testing. We're running him through every test there is. And I just got back from vacation today, so, I'm just getting in the loop on most of this stuff. But he needs to go to like the Mayo Clinic or one of these type of places and do a full, yes, we will take care of Max Holloway, and he'll go through every type of testing there is till we figure out what's wrong with him.
As you'd said, he's saying he's fine, and obviously he isn't.
Well, originally this started on Monday, and he went through a bunch of tests at the hospital, and they thought he was fine. Then, he did that interview with Michael Bisping, and, people started to realize that something wasn't right. They brought him back in and started testing him again.
How frustrated are you with this happening to the fans and, missing some of the fights that they're looking forward to? And is there any kind of review or procedures or anything like that you're going to change to try to ensure this doesn't happen anymore?
It's impossible. It's impossible to ensure what happened to Holloway doesn't happen. It's one of these crazy things. Listen, you're dealing with human beings. People get sick, things happen. It's unfortunate, but it happens. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, we've done everything you could possibly try to do to make these guys healthier, give them a safer place to train, and et cetera, et cetera. Eat the right foods. I mean, we have a restaurant at the PI where they can eat for free, and we've done everything that you can possibly do to try to limit this.
Brian Ortega, what's the next move for him?
We're working on it. Literally, Jeremy Stephens will not stop blowing me up. He wants this fight so bad. He said he'll take it on short notice. He's cutting weight already, and with the hopes that Ortega will accept the fight. Ortega has turned down the fight, so I don't know. We'll see what happens.
And is Brian Ortega's answer absolutely no, or does he still have time to change his mind on Stephens?
His manager's sitting right in the front row here. Ed Soares is here. All right. Bet you wish you didn't come to this press conference. Is it an absolute no, or is it a maybe? It's what? It's no. Get him, everybody. We did talk. Frankie Edgar is a stud. Everybody in this planet knows that. We called him, he said yes, and his family came back and said no. His family was like, there's no way he's gonna take this fight. That's an absolute fact. It really happened. So yeah, he's a stud. He wanted to take the fight. He actually was gonna take the fight against Jeremy Stephens. They wanted for the interim title. Believe me, we tried everything we could to put another fight on this card, and it didn't work out.
DC, down here in front to your left, right here, right now, do you think this is the biggest one of your career?
Yeah, it's the biggest fight of my career. I'm fighting the most successful UFC heavyweight champion of all time, the baddest man on the planet. So Nothing I've done to this point is bigger than this. Now, the reality is, these guys, all great guys, they're sitting up here International Fight Week, and it's a big deal for them, but this is where I've lived. I've lived in these moments since I first started fighting. It's just another fight to me. Saturday, I go fight Stipe. Great fighter, great champion, but I win again.
Dana, for you, I just asked Stipe, can he be the face of Cleveland sports? But can Stipe be the face of the UFC going forward?
But he is, though. I mean, if you've ever been to Cleveland, you know what I mean? They love Stipe in Cleveland, man. He is one of the big guys. He goes to all the games. All the other athletes know him. All the fans know him. He really is that guy. Listen, when the heavyweight champion of the world lives in your city, you know about it, and it's a big deal. You know what I mean? And yes, the guy's got more wins than any other heavyweight championship, for title defenses. And Saturday night he's going up against a guy who's never lost at heavyweight. So this is a big fight for both of these guys. It's an important fight. It's a big fight, and yeah, it's a big notch in Stipe's career for sure.
DC, for you, what are the challenges of fighting a guy that is 5 inches taller and you has an 8-inch reach advantage on you?
Every person I fight is bigger than me. I mean, when was the last time last time I fought somebody I was bigger than was Jeff Munson. That was in 2010. And I felt like Muhammad Ali out there. I had the reach advantage. The only time I've ever had the reach advantage. But it's the same, man. These guys they're all the same. I approach them in all the same way. Somebody asked me earlier, they said, what's your approach to fighting Stipe? It's gonna be the exact same thing. I'm gonna go forward, try to walk him down and exhaust him. I'm gonna try to take him down. I'm gonna try to wear on him and pressure fight him. I'm not gonna reinvent the wheel 9 years into my career. I'm 5'11" at best with my tall shoes. And I'm a grinder. And that's what I'm gonna do to Stipe on Saturday.
Daniel's just mentioned that he may grind you and he may try and take you late and you may kind of gas in the later rounds. Do you feel that you want to get him out of there early to prevent that happening?
Well, I think everyone wants to end their night early. I mean, that's the way to go. I mean, who doesn't want to get a knockout and go home early, unscathed? I'm going to do whatever I got to do. If it's going to be knockout, decision, submission, I don't really care. I'm going to get my hand raised. That's all I'm looking for.
Daniel, obviously you have been campaigning at light heavyweight for some time now. Surely there is a difference stepping back in against someone who is potentially going to be perhaps 20 pounds heavier and is...
No, he's not going to be 20 pounds heavier. I'm just hoping I'm not heavier than he is, get on the scale.
He's definitely going to be heavier than he is.
No, but it's some challenges. You know, obviously, there were some challenges in training camp early because my weight was heavy and I was trying to spar and train and do everything that I do as a light heavyweight with the extra weight, and it was difficult. I felt my body like I'm more sore. My back is bothering me. But once I got rolling and I started to get into shape, I was like, wow, it feels good to not be essentially malnutrition. I barely get any food when I'm fighting at 205. And then I just had a real moment of clarity that when I was fighting at heavyweight before, I wasn't really training all that hard because I know what I do at 205, and to be able to carry the workload now, I know that I'm training the right way for Saturday.
Has heavyweight evolved? Is it a different division than it was the last time you were there?
Man, I don't know. I haven't fought there in 5.5 years, so I just know that when I went down, there were things at 205 that I never felt at heavyweight. Anthony Johnson hit just as hard as any heavyweight I've ever fought. Jones did things that I don't think a heavyweight can do. So I've experienced so much at a much faster pace at 205. That's where I feel good about going back up. I know Stipe is a different type of heavyweight, and I know that he's fast, and I know that he's quick, but he's still a heavyweight. And there are things that you see in the lower weight class that you just don't see in this division. It's evolved. It's evolved. But that's why you see guys like him and Kane before him really sprint out ahead of everybody else because they were before their time. And he's the face of the division, as he should be. And he's a great challenge. I'm excited about it.
We have the precedent that when Conor won a second belt, very quickly afterwards, he got stripped of one of those titles. This weekend, Daniel could legitimately get a second belt. Like, what will happen there if he does hold 2 titles?
Yeah, it's something we'll talk about, just like we did with Conor. We talked about it and figured out what we wanted to do, and we'll do the same thing with Daniel.
Francis, I mean, there you are now. You're sitting right next to Stipe. If you're excited to kind of have this shot again, if you think, maybe an impressive performance against Derek will give you a chance to maybe go against this guy again.
Yes. I mean, I'm really excited to get back in the octagon. I lost my last fight against Stipe, and then it was a great performance for Stipe, but I learned a lot about that fight. I'm pretty sure that the rematch will be different. I'll do better than I did the last time, and I will do great.
For Derek Lewis, Now it's the co-main event of International Fight Week. I want to ask, just kind of if it changes anything for you to have a little added shine, a little added spotlight.
It really don't matter because, I feel like we should have been getting paid pay-per-view points anyway. So everybody really buying the pay-per-view because of me and Francis.
And for Daniel, I know that you keep saying that you're going to go down to 205 after this. That's the plan. Why in the world, if things go well, would you go back down to 205? Like, what is there for you to do?
I'm honestly really selfish, and I don't want to give up one of the belts. So it's going to be a fight between Dana and I, but we'll see what happens. I mean, either I fight at 205 or, I've already got a challenge in the back. Derek Lewis told me that he was going to knock me out right before we walked out of here. Derek Lewis may knock out Francis and then knock me out afterwards. I don't know. I know they got guys that are lined up to fight me. He's been sizing me up since I got back there and called me small. He's like, well, you're a lot smaller than everybody up here. That's rude, Derek.
Derek, what's your issue with Daniel?
I want to know, too.
He disrespected Popeye's chicken on a commercial a few years ago.